Can I just say that trans women just mind their own business?
The transgender movement is imposing its ideology on the younger generation.
So personally, I don't really think it's the transgender movement imposing its ideology on kids so much more as a lot of people who act on behalf of the transgender movement, trying to kind of do the whole, I guess, speak over us, speak for us. You know, we have a lot of people who will come up and say very weird, gross things to kids or about kids, and then they'll claim trans, but at the end of the day, like, a lot of trans women really don't hold, I don't know, we're not, how do I say it, perverted in that way. When someone talks about like a kid, openly talks about like a kid's genitalia in a place full of kids, and then they're talking about, oh, well, I'm representative of trans women. Well, no, you're not, because most trans women that I know, like, none of you ladies would ever even think about doing something so disgusting. And so, do I think it's the transgender movement imposing its ideology? No, because I also think at some point, you can't force someone cis or trans. But I will say, I think you can make someone think something about themselves, a young, impressionable kid. But at the end of the day, I really don't think that's on the trans movement. And I don't think you should judge all of trans people for that mistake. Because similarly, back in the day, there was a lot of propaganda about gay men doing that. And we now completely agree, gay men don't really do that. And we're kind of sliding back on that a bit due to some cases. But I think it's kind of unfair to put the entire trans space onto that they're grooming kids or whatever bubble. Even if, I've said and I've protested about certain things like that, and I do agree about things like that still, I haven't changed my mind on that. However, I just don't think it's all of the trans community's fault. And I don't think trans people as a whole should be punished and suffer because of the actions of a few weirdo people who get—
Can I just say that trans women just mind their own business? We literally are trying to live our lives each and every day, trying to survive in a world that wants to take us out. We're not trying to push ideologies on anyone. We're literally minding our own business. I think a lot of, and I'm not saying y'all do this, but I think a lot of conservative folks like to use propaganda against us to make it seem like we're pushing this narrative that we want little kids to transition and that we want to do this and want to do that, and that's not it. We're literally just trying to survive, and I think sometimes this rhetoric does put us against y'all, and I see past that for the most part. I don't see trans women as an ideology. We're real. We're right here in front of you. Whether you agree with our experience or not, we're here right here before you. And we are just trying to live our normal lives.